what has it been like to have like this major chapter of your careers come to an end? What's life like now for the both of you now that the series is over with?
I want to marry V, have this baby. I want the life I was so close to having I could taste it. Till they ripped it away.
The experience for me itself was just, of course, life-changing. And that's to keep it simple. But now that it's coming to an end, it still doesn't feel real yet because we're still doing press, still talking about these characters, still talking about the show. I still get to look at Gail on interviews. So it's like, it still feel like it's not over yet. I feel like once the finale airs and there's no more interviews about Snowfall, there's no more, going to set, then I feel like that's when it's going to really hit and resonate with me that it's over. But for right now, it hasn't hit me yet.
How about you, Miss Gail?
I agree. I'm still in it. It's still very surreal, like Isaiah said. Once we reach a time where you randomly see it playing, or people say, "Oh my God, Snowfall," and then because we'll have the late bloomers, right? Just like The Wire did, we'll have people who come to it late, and it's this surge again because it'll go off and then it'll probably come back on TV again, and we'll have this surge of all new fans, a whole new generation of people watching it, being hip to it. I think that's where it's like, oh my goodness, it's over. It's over. I mean, and of course, when the finale airs, it'll really feel like it's over, but yeah.
So what have you most enjoyed for the both of you? We'll start with you, Gail. What have you most enjoyed about exploring this character over the past 5 seasons? Because Gail, correct me if I'm wrong, you came on season 2, is that right?
Correct, you're correct. I came on.
Okay, cool. So for you, I mean, it's still the beginning, right? We'll still say you've been there since the very beginning, right?
I ain't shed it in. I ain't blood in, blood out. But I feel like I've earned my stripes. I've earned my snowflake.
Exactly. So what have you most enjoyed about exploring the world of Wanda, and how much of I know this character is very complex, but I'm wondering how much of her journey, not to say that you're a crackhead, but how much of her journey have you personally been able to tap into as you've kind of deep dive into this character?
I've enjoyed most Wanda's depth. Just being able to see just this character is deeper. She's so multifaceted. So being able to witness all of the nooks and cracks and crevices of her, I've loved that so much more than anything, because it's so rare that we see a character this full on TV. We know these characters in real life, right? But to actually see it portrayed on TV and being able to truly humanize her, whether she's at a high or whether she's at a low, I've enjoyed that the most, being able to find the softness in her harsh reality, being able to just find the love and get back to her, and being able to connect with others. And there's so many people who say to me, like, this is my story. I was Wanda, or I am a Wanda, or this happened and thank you. I get so many people who tell me that they've overcome an addiction. Like, man, that Wanda, man, that was me. Just seeing how her storyline resonates with the people who are out here thriving in their daily walks of life, who I meet them at a time where I would look at them from face value and never have known that they were once an addict, and like one who really went through the ugly parts of addiction. So I just love that. I love her depth. I think that's what people resonate with the most, her authenticity.
And just to add to that,
go ahead.
Flowers, when she booked this role, she didn't book the role with knowledge that Wanda was going to end up on crack. So she booked the role just thinking she's going to be a love interest. And that's when they threw her that curveball and said, no, but your character's going to end up on crack. She did the work. That is an attest to her talent, because a lot of actors would not been able to pull off and be believable with such a curveball like that, like crack. Like, you have to portray someone who's an addict. That's some heavy weight, and she pulled her weight. So I always want to give Gail her flowers, because it's not like she knew that that's what she was getting into when she signed on to the show. So that's a testament to her talent for sure.
Of course. So, I mean, I've watched this week's episode and next week's episode. And so this week's episode, obviously, we see, and I'm looking at my notes here, we see Leon and Wanda have a major, you know, they take their relationship to the next level, right? But I feel like, and what a beautiful moment that was to have this moment. So since this episode is aired, I can say this and we're not spoiling anything. I mean, I love that they got married in the motherland, okay? But then what's interesting, no spoilers, next week's episode, right? We see that there's still some major obstacles I feel like they're gonna have to overcome, right? As newlyweds, and I'm saying this delicately so I won't spoil anything. So Isaiah, talk to me about what can you tease us with, what we can expect between you know, Leon and his lady love now that they're back in the States.
What I'm gonna say is like you said, they're going through their newlywed problems, and a lot of that is the obligation that Leon feels as a man that he has to, I guess, try to correct his wrongs, and his now wife having to support him, but also being torn, like she feels like this is just a bad idea and that we should just go back home, you know, to the motherland. But he just feels so obligated, you know, to try to right his wrongs, and that can easily lead to a lot of conflict in the relationship when two people want to go in two different directions so early on in the marriage. So yeah, we get to see how that plays out.
So then, of course, I'm also wondering, how does Leon fit into Franklin's world this season? I mean, I know the series kind of just kicked off, and we still have many episodes to go. So what can you kind of tease us with what to expect between the Leon-Franklin dynamic?
You were supposed to be out.
I built an empire, starting back in 0. That ain't gonna happen. We know exactly who we dealing with.
If you won't give back what you stole, it's gonna get real bad for you.
I feel like right now Leon has the upper hand. Franklin lost all of his money to the point where now he's robbing his own family. Leon didn't lose all his money. You know, he's still good. He still is respected. And so I think the tables are turning, and we get to see how those tables really turn and what that does to the story and these characters. But right now, I don't think Leon is too much worried about where he fits into Franklin's world, because he's created his own now. He has his own family, and he has his tribe. So we get to just see how it pans out. It's gonna be dope.
Okay, we'll see. On that note, go ahead, Gail.
From the outside looking in, watching Leon and Franklin's dynamic, I think it's so beautiful that we have we now have all of our men are in relationships. So Louis and Jerome are married, Leon and Wanda are married, and then we have Franklin and Veronique with a child on the way. So we're seeing all of these men connected to women and what it looks like when the woman leads and when the man leads. I think in Franklin and Veronique's relationship, both are trying. Franklin is no longer, they're not operating as one, right? So Franklin is just making rash decisions and operating off of emotion and panic. And Leon and Wanda have went through this journey of self-reflection and love and grown and separated so they could grow together. So now they're operating as one, they're moving on accord. There is this support system. She is allowing herself to be led by her husband. And then you have Jerome and Louis, where Louis kind of has been leading their relationship, and we see where that's taken a turn and how it's taken their relationship in their future. So I think it's just so beautifully to watch the different dynamics of the men and the women in their life, and see how now you do have Leon with the power, who he has a woman in his ear who is supportive, and he may not always listen, but he does take pause to hear her and allow her voice to weigh in on his decisions. And I think that says a lot, because, marriage is work, but also life, being a black man in America, being black in America is work.
So, of course, Gail, on that note, then I'm wondering, okay, so we see the first couple episodes that your character, she has a positive outlook regarding remaining sober, right? But we do see she feels a little tested. I think she recognizes that she's still weak and vulnerable when it comes to addiction. So I'm wondering, will their marriage be tested by, not Gail, you are Gail, sorry, by Wanda's struggle to stay clean? I'm wondering, I know you can't spoil anything, but will we see her journey onto her sober journey, right, be tested, and how that affects their marriage?
We will definitely see her be tested. Their marriage will get tested. Wanda's sobriety will get tested because, they came from this bliss place, Ghana, and now they're back in the projects. They're not just back in LA, but they're back living in the projects right here where you can easily walk out the door and get crack. Or where now my husband is in the thick of a war and trying to decide between two drug dealers. So it's so many things pulling at both their marriage, and it's the weight of being a wife. It's the weight of being kind of alone in the projects, because now Leon his focus and his attention is on Franklin, and his focus and attention is on Louis and Jerome, and making this right and righting his wrongs, and processing what he did when he did kill the child back in the season when he killed Scully's daughter. So there's so many things that now are on Leon's mind, and Wanda starts to kind of feel alone. And she has to really look inside herself and see what person she wants to be, even being going back to family and being tested in that area where people continuously remind you of who you were and the mistakes that you've done. So there's a couple of tests that come around, but not just for her, but for everybody.
Swallow your pride and make peace with your family, because this isn't good for anyone.
Told you the gloves had to come off.
Franklin is going to war. He's trying to bring this entire operation crashing down.
What exactly do you need?
Proof. The CIA has been selling cocaine in the United States.
Even after all of this, you want to think America still cares about you.
This series, like we said at the top of the interview, is coming to an end. Will longtime fans, will viewers be surprised by where these characters end up when this series wraps?
I think with some characters, yes, but with some, no.
How about your character?
With my character, would I be surprised?
Yeah, the journey that when you think about Leon's journey from the moment we met him on the series until the final frame we see him, right? You know, will we be shocked by where he ends up? Mm-hmm. Where this journey takes him?
It ever occur to you this is exactly what they want? For us to wipe each other out?
My back is against the wall. What happens next determines the course of the rest of our lives.
This series it did unpack the true story of the crack epidemic, South LA, right? What are you hoping viewers, longtime fans are left thinking about, talking about? What are the teachable moments or cautionary tales that have been kind of embedded in the heartbeat of the Snowfall story that you're hoping to leave fans with?
For me, everything, because I feel like me being a part of this show, especially, so young, I was able to learn so much about this this huge part in our history here in America, with this drug that was put in our neighborhood. So I think moving on in the future, this show collectively from season 1 to season 6 will just be used as a teaching tool, not just for actors and people who want to act, but people who want to, be educated but also entertained at the same time with a part of history. So yeah.
Agreed. There's so much that they don't teach in schools. They don't teach us about this time period. We know about the effects of crack and the residual effects and the long-lasting effects, but we don't know about the origination of crack. So this will go on to be a teachable moment for us on our history. I think it also shows that, we need to stick together as a community, as a race, as a people.
This is about survival.
Do it. End this shit right now.
Nobody wins when the family feuds. Most importantly, we have to look out for one another, whether our position in life or career is a cop, whether it's the neighbor, and that we all have a responsibility and a due diligence to one another to do better and be better and to put and leave something good in the world.
Very good. And speaking of that, and I promise this is my last question, I just thought of this as you were speaking, Gail. Do you either of you know if the show intends to do any tributes or pay any honors, acknowledge Mr. Singleton as part of the series finale?
You gotta watch and see.
Okay.
We will. I mean, you definitely gotta watch, but you'll see it all come together. And I think the audience and just everybody involved, everybody who loves John's work and his legacy will be happy with it. It's gonna feel like John is here with us, and I think that's what I do love. We didn't just continue on and forget about him. Everything is for John, So that's the most beautiful part about it. We didn't just, he's still with us, and we make sure that we pay tribute to him as the creator, as the GOAT that he is and was and will forever be.